Hi, this is Logan Street with DealerSocket, and today I'm going to be discussing the desk log and how to use the desk log to verify that we have all of the customer information that we need, as well as why that's a good thing, why that helps us in more than one way. So the first thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to come over here to the left-hand side of the home screen. I'm going to click on this dollar sign, and I'm going to come down to desk log. And once I click that, this will open up a new tab. In a lot of situations where a dealership, a sales manager may have more than one monitor, they will have the desk log opened up on a separate monitor. And the reason why is, you can do just about anything you need to do as a sales manager out of this desk log. Now, the desk log itself is a list of customers that have either visited the store on the date that we have listed, or had planned to visit the store, meaning they had an appointment in the past, or they have an appointment within the next 2 hours to visit the store. Okay, because of this makes this kind of like your deepest funnel customers that are in your CRM in terms of the closest to buy and the customers that we really need to make sure that we follow up with after the fact. And I have a separate video on that as well that I'll link in the description. Okay. Let me talk about just kind of navigation here to begin with. Top left, we have our dates. So like I said, right now we've got this set to August 2nd. I can click on this and click a different date, or I can use the arrows to the left and the right of the date to go to other dates. Okay. To the far right, we have a refresh button. So we can refresh the screen if we need to refresh it. To the right of the refresh button, we have the three dots right here where we can actually print out the desk log. Okay, hit refresh one time. There we go. Below that, we have a quick link to see if we have any untouched web leads. So again, if this is up on one of your monitors, you can quickly look over and see if we have any untouched web leads. I can actually click into my untouched web leads filter straight from that link. Okay, we'll jump back into the desk log. Again, if you have any untouched service leads or parts leads, they're there as well. We have our unconverted ups tool. We have a link to that right here, and you can utilize that. I will have a separate video for this also linked in the description. And then if you're utilizing our skate alerts tool, that would be located right here. We have filters, so you can filter out the information that you see right here. For example, if your store has more than one franchise, you can separate it by franchise, you can separate it by team, primary assigned, so on and so forth right here. And then, so for example, if I just wanted to see customers that were in the store, I would hit apply or in store, yes, and apply, and this would only show me the customers that are in the store. If you notice on the left hand side, it shows in store, yes, and all I have to do to kind of clear that filter out is click this X right here, and that'll clear that out. The other thing that is really nice is we have a search field. So in the event that maybe it's a really busy Saturday and we've got 40 people on this desk log, salesperson comes up and says, hey, I need to have you look up numbers on this customer. I can quickly type in the customer's name, right? So I can go, he's working with Mike, or, and this isn't a great example because these are all assigned to the same salesperson, but I could type in the salesperson's name to find those customers. Or, if I know the stock number, whoops, I can have them tell me the stock number and I can search the stock number, okay? Anything in here searchable through that field. And then moving down into this section right here, the list of customers, visit time on the left-hand side, this shows when their store visit is, okay? Now you'll notice right away, there's two of these, one at the top and one at the bottom, that do not have a store visit listed. The reason they don't have a store visit listed is they are appointments. Okay, and they haven't been because they're unconfirmed and they haven't been they haven't shown today. They are not showing as a store visit yet. They haven't logged a store visit. Now, if I come, up to my customer right here and I specify, or I as a sales manager, let's say I see Al test with the customer on the specific vehicle that this person was looking for, I can click on that unconfirmed button and I can start the appointment. Or let's say that we wanted, like, we're calling the appointments that are coming in, and I wanted to call and confirm this appointment, right? Say I spoke to the customer, I can quickly say that I spoke to the customer right here, and that will change that to a confirmed appointment. Give it a second. There we go. Now it's confirmed. Well, let's say I see that customer with that on the vehicle that this customer was looking at. I can probably pretty well assume that that's the customer. I can do the salesperson a favor and also make sure that my numbers are correct in case the salesperson forgets to go in and mark the appointment as shown. I can come in here, mark the appointment as a show. Just leave it as that right now because we haven't done a write up. And let's see. Show an appointment. Well, let's just say that they're looking at the vehicle, so they're demoing it, and we can go ahead and hit save. And then that appointment will show as completed, and you'll see the visit time. If we refresh this should show the visit time here on the left, 11:14 a.m. Okay. Um, Moving on to the next column, sourcing. This shows you what the source and the tracking code for that customer is. If you need to change it, you can, add a tracking code. So, hey, how did that customer hear about us? Oh, they were a service customer. We can add them as a service customer right here. Okay. If you click this add manager field, I can't because I'm a DealerSocket user, but if you're a store user, you'll be able to click that, add yourself as the manager. Turnover, this indicates that this sales or this customer was turned to a manager, and in store indicates that the customer is currently in the store right now. So if this customer was gone, we could go ahead and uncheck that box and they're not going to be showing in store. The reason we would utilize this is to know how many customers were actively working in the store currently. Okay. Under customer information, you can see some of these have an initial and this one has a driver's license scan. The photo from their driver's license. This is a quick indicator that we scanned a driver's license. Okay. To the right of that, we have the customer's name. And if you click on this name, you can go straight to their sales opportunity. The only reason you would really need to go to the sales opportunity from here is just to verify that if there's a co-buyer, you can see if there's a co-buyer. And then if we are running credit through DealerSocket, we could check out credit or financing through here, or if it's up in the upper right hand side, you can make sure that a credit app has been filled out. Okay, that's the only really real reason you need to go into the sales opportunity, because I'll show you, you can read notes from the desk log, you can add tasks, you can work it that way as well. Okay, to the right, vehicle of interest. This customer doesn't show a vehicle of interest, but this one does. And notice it does have a stock number, so we know it's a specific vehicle. And in some cases, you might get a lead that comes in that just says, like 2023 Silverado, but doesn't have a stock number. I know right away I'm not on a specific vehicle. Okay, trade-in information. If we have the trade-in information inside of DealerSocket, it'll list that here. If we don't have it, we won't. Again, if it's not there, you're just going to have to add it in the DMS. Okay. With the trade-in information, if we have put an ACV on this vehicle in our desking tool or just in the CRM, that'll show that ACV number. So if we're going back in previous days, we can see that. The assigned to, this just shows who the primary assigned was, if there's a secondary, or if your dealership utilizes a BDC, who the BDC agent was. Okay. If there is an appointment, again, and I showed you this earlier, we can utilize this appointment field to confirm appointments or mark that an appointment has shown. And then there's the today's results column. So this today's results column, and we'll get into this in a separate video, but this is really going to tee you up for follow-up success. Okay, so if I'm a sales manager and I specify what happened with this customer using the today's results column, the following day is when I'm going through this as a sales manager, either myself or another sales manager, I can quickly see who I need to call first in terms of customers that visited the store the day before and did not buy. So first off, like, hey, if I see that they're going to close in the next 24 hours, fantastic. That's the first customer I'm calling. If they're 2 months out, yeah, there's probably a few other customers I'm going to call. I still need to thank them, right? And try and get something out of that. But let's get the people that the iron is hot, if you will, right? And then there's some other options up here, right? So they need a cosigner. All right. Hey, now if I do call them back, I know exactly what to ask about, right? They're upside down. Maybe I can quickly have the used car manager take a look at their trade. They don't qualify. That's tough, right? But at the same time, I can same thing. Hey, do you need a cosigner? Can you get a cosigner? That sort of thing. Sold order. This one's been used more and more in the last couple of years. The sold order function right here, it just indicates that we have a sold order. And in some cases, we've built widgets off of this status and even follow-up campaigns for customers that have orders. Sold spot, I generally just use this as kind of like a placeholder. So if we did sell the car and we're waiting for the DMS to come back and specify that the vehicle is sold, I'll use that just so we know that we did sell it. Sold deposit means it is sold, but we're waiting for the customer to come back and finish it. And then obviously we've got those others right there. One field that I just realized that we did miss, a couple of them actually are under the customer's name, actually to the right of the customer's name. So if you notice that there's this little house icon, this indicates that we have a full address. Notice there's a few customers down here that don't have it. We don't have an address. Okay. Below that, and this used to be check marks in the old system, but you can actually click on the current sales step and then specify what sales step this customer's in. So let's say that we know that we sold this customer. We can go ahead and move that into a pending F&I. One thing to note, if you do have DealerSocket's desking tool, anytime you access the desking tool from this screen, it will automatically put them into a write-up status. If you push a deal from the desking tool to your DMS, it will move them to pending F&I automatically as well. But if you're just pushing deals over to your DMS and working the deal there, you'll still need to come in and make sure that we move those to pending F&I. And the reason that we want to do that if we've sold this customer is so that the follow-up campaigns stop, so that tomorrow they don't get an email saying, "Hey, thanks for coming in. How can we earn your business?" Okay. Below that, we have a couple indicators. So this first one on the left indicates that we have a phone number. And if I click on it, I can actually log a phone call. So if I'm a sales manager and I'm going through previous days, I can go ahead and log an outbound phone call using this feature right here. If I need to send an email, I can click on the email icon to send that customer an email. That'll open up an email window that you just saw. And then this, the graying of these indicates that we're missing something. Now, I'm on a demo site that doesn't have Socket Talk, so these are all grayed out. But if they have a mobile phone number and they haven't opted out of texting, it should show this in the same blue as these other ones, excuse me, as well. Okay, moving over, we have our notes, so we can quickly see how many notes, or like we can click on this note section and look at the notes for the deal, and even if we need to add a note, we can add a note right here. Okay. However, if I hold down my control button and I zoom out the resolution on this, there is a notes field right here, similar to the old tool. And you can scroll into these without having to open up a separate window to look at the notes. And if you need to add a note as a sales manager, click on it and go ahead and add the note that way. Okay. To the right of that, we have actions. So if you are utilizing DealerSocket's desking tool, this icon will be open and you'll be able to go to desking from here. If you're utilizing a separate desking tool or you're desking in your DMS, we can push to DMS right here from the desk log. My recommendation is that sales manager should push deals. I don't believe that salespeople should push deals because it slows a few things down in the sense of they don't always have all the information. And then, if that gets pushed over without all the information, it just creates more work in the sense of having to add that information later on. And then the other aspect of this is it gives you an accurate count of deals that you're working in your DMS, right? If a salesperson has access to push, they could push anything and it just creates issues. I know with some DMSs, it creates a new deal number every single time you push, which is not recommended. That being said, if you want to restrict this to just your sales managers, you can come over here to the admin menu, go to team role-based permissions, And I usually just do a Control F to find this, and I just type in DMS. And I think it's okay, push to DMS. So if you hit edit and you just specify the teams that you want access to be able to push, just move them over to the right and remove, move the all users back, and that will limit that so that salespeople have to come to you in order to push a deal. And that also gives you the chance to make sure that everything's on the desk log. Whoops, we went to desking. Let's go to desk log real quick. Okay. To the right of that, we have sales forms. So if you want to print out the forms for the salesperson, you can click on those sales forms and be able to print those out straight from here. The sales checklist is right here. This is a great way to ensure that we have information. So if they want to include a copy of the driver's license, and I'll include a video on how to set up the sales checklist, how the reporting works, as well as how to use it within like the mobile app, how to add things to it. I'll include a video of that too. But essentially, the sales checklist right here, you're just indicating that we have these items, or if we've checked the box for these steps, right? I've seen dealerships that use this for their 12 steps of the process, and this indicates that we did not skip steps. And if we did skip a step, we can track that. Okay. If there is a file loaded up, we can see if there's a file right here as well, to make sure that we have copies of that information. If I hit save when I've checked all those, this sales checklist will change to green, meaning we have everything and we're good to go. Give that just a second to do that. If it's red like this, it means we're missing sales checklist items. To the right of that, we have add task. So if we wanted to add a reminder or a phone call task for this customer, we can do that, and we can assign it to the salesperson or ourselves. And then to the right of that, we have closed and delivery. So we can specify the date that it was closed and the date that it was delivered right here. Okay. That kind of goes over the navigation of this tool. How do we utilize this? Okay. So the idea is if a salesperson comes up to us, we want, and we have a customer that's in the store and they're looking to look at numbers, we want to make sure that all of those customers end up on the desk log. The reason why is it gives us the ability to make sure that everything's there, but it also gives us the ability to ensure that we can market to this customer if they don't purchase today. And we know that this customer's on the desk log, so they're in that bottom funnel of customers, so that when we're looking at previous days, we can find those customers. Okay. The process that I typically will use to, if a salesperson comes up to me and they say, hey, I've got customer test 1 here. They're looking at a Cherokee and they have a Sonata to trade. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to type in customer test 1. Again, this is assuming that we have a lot of customers here, on the desk log, but you don't have to use that if you see the customer. Okay. I see the visit time. So we do have a visit time. The source. Okay. We have a source with a tracking code. Great. Now we can make sure that we're keeping track of where our money's spent. I'm going to click add manager, add myself as the manager. Again, I'm in a demo site, so it won't let me do it. If I spoke to the customer, I'm going to check the box for turnover. Okay. So I did speak to the customer, and I know the customer is currently in the store. Okay. At this point, if we utilize the driver's license scanner, I need to see a picture of that customer. Okay. If I don't see the picture of the customer and you require that for yourself from your salespeople, guess what? You got to send them back. Okay. To the right of that, I can see the customer's name and I see the little house. So I indicate that they do have a house. Okay. If this was in like, demo or store visit status, and we were going to do a write up, I'm going to move this to a write up. Okay. I'm going to look below and verify that we have a phone number and an email address. Again, if you have texting, this indicates that there's a mobile phone number that they're not opted out of. So if you want to hold them accountable to that, you can do that as well. And again, if they're missing something, send them back. Okay. Vehicle of interest, we have this Cherokee. If we needed to switch the vehicle, we can click here, go to our inventory and switch that. The trade-in, we have this trade-in here. Okay. If we needed to add the trade here, And again, you don't necessarily have to, but we can add this trade here as well as up to 2 other trades. So 3 total. If we need to edit something here, we can edit that as well. To the right of that, I want to make sure that it's assigned to the person that we're working. And then that's it, to just verify that we have all the information here. Again, if it's not there, send it back. Once we've got all that, we're either going to go to desking or we're going to push it to our DMS and work that deal. Now, once we're done with that customer, whether they purchased or not, so let's say that they purchased, right? We're going to come in here, we're going to specify sold spot. Okay. That way I know in the future days that this is what happened with this customer. Okay. And then I'm going to move my, I'm going to move my sales step to pending F&I so that I know that that customer is sold. Okay. So it's in pending F&I status and they're sold. All right. If we didn't sell that customer, we're going to obviously leave them in a write-up status, but I'm going to take this today's result and I'm going to specify when I think that customer is going to close or the reason why they can't close. Okay. So let's just say the next 24 hours. They're probably going to come back tomorrow. They had to, they had to sleep on it. Okay. So that is how you utilize, that's kind of a navigation of how the desk log is set up and how you would utilize this to verify customer information. Thanks.